So this is a quick, well hopefully quick, what's in my camera bag for a recent 3-day road trip to Baltimore, Maryland. And we're a little close, but I'm gonna move it out of the way because I'm not a big fan of this bag. I don't really like it. It attracts attention and it's annoying. So I bought with me first thing out of the bag is a Tiffin 49mm Black Promise 1/8 that I ended up not using. Basically, it never went on my lenses, and it really wasn't a big deal. Let me just go ahead and get everything out here before I talk about what wasn't useful or got used or didn't get used. Anyway, 49mm variable ND by Gobi. I think they rebranded now. They're called something else. Not my favorite ND, not the best one. But a roll of Fujicolor 200, and obviously what that means is my primary camera for this trip is going to be, or was rather, my M3. This has the Zeiss 35mm ZM lens on it. I actually didn't shoot this much on this body at all. It ended up being just used for video. This is the Canon 1.8. I think it's called a Serenar. This is like a thread mount lens converted with just a simple adapter to work with an M mount. Not pictured is the Sigma FP, so I guess I'll put in some decent B-roll. And I also brought along the TT Artisans 28mm 1.4. Really cool lens. Optically, is it the best? I have no idea. I've never shot the real thing to compare it to. The real thing being the Leica microfiber cloth, of course. And I brought for video, this was supposed to be my main, or really, yeah, my main video camera. The underappreciated and overlooked Panasonic S1. So the Sigma FP is not here. I bundled the Sigma FP up in a t-shirt and put it in my backpack and ended up not using it at all. And ended up not using the 28mm 1.4 at all either. This guy ended up being kind of like, I did a little bit of a digital versus film thing, and I shot a few stills with this guy too, and then shot the same ones or similar stills with the M3 on film. The film that was in here when I left, Camp Mayor 400, which is a black and white film. It's not bad. Has a lot of grain. It's comparable to Ilford's 400 speed film. It's just dirt cheap black and white film to kind of practice and learn with. And in my camera bag was also a back-to-backup watch. That is what was in my camera bag. And this guy got used the most. I mostly shot film while I was there with the M3 and used mostly the Canon 1.8. And together these guys are very compact and a very, very easy to carry kit. I basically shot 35mm video and 50mm for my stills the whole time, and these two together, this had the 35 on it with the variable ND, which is not my favorite variable ND. This guy definitely has a color cast. I would not recommend this. And we were near the Baltimore waterfront, which has changed a lot in recent years, and it was a decent amount of fun. It was a family trip. It was for my 1-year-old to visit her grandmother. And I did not have that much time to do anything. This was my first real outing with the M3, and during the day we did baby and family stuff, and in the evenings, well, even before the sun went down, or when I ran out to pick up food or whatever, I took the camera, the M3 with me. I took my camera bag with me, and it just had these two guys in it, 35mm for video, 50mm for stills. And it was a very compact setup for like professional quality video. I got really familiar with the M3, and I didn't take a spare battery. The because the S1 you can charge through USB-C, so no need for a spare battery. I just charged it for a couple hours every night, and I barely even went past half the charge. M3 doesn't need a battery. It doesn't have a light meter. It is just purely mechanical, and it's beautiful, and it works, and it just works really, really well. And with that 50 millimeter, it's beautiful and compact, and I had no light leaks. I had no issues with it. I did have a light leak, but that was my own fault because I flashed my film halfway through. It was a 3-day road trip, and I've got the video coming up as well. So quick tour of what's in my camera bag for this trip, and I'm going to talk more about it. I already made one video about it, and it's not the best video, but I'm going to talk more about the FP in the future, and I'm going to be using it a lot more. It's also a very capable stealth camera. Anyway, that's been a tour of what's in my camera bag for a road trip. All right, see you in the next video.